Does the phrase Kiri Gohan and Kamehameha mean anything to you? Yeah! Yes! I love it. Let's go! About half the seats at Go-Go Kuri were full. Is she spying on Daru? There's no way she's spying on Daru. Meeting Dr. Leskinen was a real lucky break for me. I don't know about that, man. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. You don't know the stuff that I've seen. How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here, back with some more Steins Gate 0. And last time, we met Dr. Leskinen at Fubuki's hospital, where she was. And we now know that Maho and he are back in Japan. And at least from my belief, up to no good. But I think the bigger thing in to take the spotlight of last episode was the big Nakey fight that Suzaha had with who we presume to be Kagari, almost definitely. It was pretty brutal. It's a pretty brutal fight. And Kagari did end up managing to escape and get away. And yeah, and then we were so tired, or Suzaha was so tired, that she passed out pretty much right in Daru's arms. So yeah, that was the gist of it. So I mean, let's just get into this episode, shall we? As we now go into Okabe's perspective. When July came, the sun shone down even harder on eastern Japan. Summer was truly here. The news had been saying for days that the heat island effect might make this the hottest summer in years. And then, on the first Sunday in July, I met with Maho in Akihabara. Aw, she's got a little sundress on. I was waiting at the Ocean Cafe at the UPX when Maho arrived. She was a little late. Okabe! It's been a while. She ordered an iced coffee and took a deep breath. But you know, we talk to each other all the time on video chat. That's right. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. Her habit of paying no attention to her clothes or looks hadn't changed at all in the last 6 months. People were going to think she was an elementary school kid who decided to go play at a friend's house. But it would upset her if I said that, so I never would. I had no idea you were here. If I hadn't happened to see Dr. Leskinen, I never would have found out. I was going to contact you once things had calmed down. We needed to talk to each other about Keretz at some point eventually. You're here about the new encephalitis cases? Dr. Leskinen is, at least. I'm his assistant, but I'm mostly in charge of Amadeus. Have there been any problems? I assume not, since I'm still getting my usual reports. Yeah, nothing, really. Lately it's been a struggle to deal with Keretz, though. Hey! I heard a voice from my smartphone, which I'd placed on the table. What do you mean by struggle? I'd left the Amadeus app turned on. Of course, Keretz could hear everything we said. She's gotten a little ruder since we first met. You're just afraid of me for no reason is all. Maybe. It was turning into our old relationship in the Alpha World line, where we'd fought all the time. I was starting to lose track of whether that was a good or bad thing for me. I thought I was trying to forget about Keretz. You were pretty rude when we first met. That was... She's rough on people when she meets them for the first time. You know why? Because they refuse to treat me like I'm my real age. The two of them spoke in unison. So I always get upset. Once I get to know someone, they stop talking about my appearance, right? So I can speak more normally around them is all. I guess I was right not to comment on her outfit. That was a close call. Anyway, back to Amadeus. It's an interesting sign that Cuditz is developing a bit of a sharp tongue. It's a side of her she never shows me or the professor, right? That may be a sign of how much she's opened up to you. I have not! Maho simply smiled and ignored her. We can analyze those psychological changes as code. This is a change we never would have seen if she'd only been speaking to me and the professor. That alone means we were right to keep you on as a tester. Is that how it works? Yeah, and again, I thought he didn't want to be a tester, right? Like, and they still kind of forced him, and then it just kind of, I guess he just kind of kept doing it. Dr. Leskinen was very impressed by this, too. I think you're giving him too much credit. In fact, whenever he talks to me, he's always complaining. He's not very manly, you know. Well, I knew my personality had gotten a bit negative. Especially given what I've been through. But did she really need to say that to Maho right now? An eye for an eye it is then. By the way, there's something I hadn't told you yet. What is it? It's something I don't think you or Dr. Leskinen are aware of. Wait, what are you going to tell her? Something Maho and the professor don't know? About me? Does the phrase Kiri Gohan and Kamehameha mean anything to you? Yeah! Yes! I love it. Let's go! Hey! A few weeks ago, I had actually searched for Kiri Gohan and Kamehameha on a whim. It was the handle Cuditz had used on @channel when she was still alive. No way Amadeus Cuditz uses that handle still! From what I'd seen, the comments started in summer of 2008, then abruptly stopped in July of 2010, and then started up again in December of that same year. Even now, in July 2011, they were still appearing. If it wasn't Cuditz's ghost, and it wasn't an imposter, then the one who could be writing those posts was... Dintaro Okabe, why don't we have a private chat? So it was you after all. Don't you think it's a bad idea not to tell them? It's an even worse idea to tell Maho! Why? Because I haven't breathed a word to her about me going on @channel. Why hide it? It's not a crime to read or comment on @channel. Isn't that right, @channeler Cuditz? Listen, call me that one more time, and I'll start making up gossip about you on @channel. That's practically a crime, though. I couldn't help but laugh. Conversations like this brought back so many memories. I used to be so full of myself that I'd tick off Cuditz all the time. Hey, what are you talking about? Nothing! Don't worry about it! Delete all your memories of today from your hippocampus, please! You can hide it, but she's going to find out eventually. You just shut up.
You two have gotten a lot closer over the last 6 months. Maho, I'm sorry. Huh? Why are you apologizing? No, just... It's been so long since you and Okabe have seen each other, and I'm doing all the talking. So why don't you two take some time and chat? That's not what I meant. It's all Okabe's fault for saying something weird, isn't it?
Is that true, Keri Gohan and Kamehameha?
Please don't say that.
Just like the real Cudits, she was strangely obsessed with hiding the fact that she was an at-channeler.
I need to go cool off a little, so I'm going to hang up. Bye.
Cudits disappeared from the screen. Cudits had been kind of rude lately, so it felt good to have a chance to get back at her. If I overdid it, she was probably going to hold a grudge, so this was likely a good place to stop.
What's Keri Gohan?
If you really want to know, ask Cudits. If I explained it, she'd probably get mad and refuse to talk to me again. So how long are you going to be staying here?
It might be longer than last time. We barely know anything about the new encephalitis Dr. Leskinen is researching. It's possible that I'll be sent back on my own too.
If you've got time, visit the lab. I'm sure Daru and Mayuri would love to see you.
Mayuri, sure, but I don't know about Hashira.
Maho was finally starting to understand Daru's true nature. Speaking of Daru, he should be on a date with Yuki Amane right now.
By the way, what happened to Cudits' laptop?
I destroyed it. It was the best thing to do. I explained that to you before, didn't I?
Yeah, you're right.
She looked down, a sad expression on her face. I told her I was going to do it ahead of time, but it still must have upset her to see one of the last things she had to remember Cudits by destroyed. Oh shoot, okay, back to Suzuha. About half the seats at Go-Go Kuri were full. Is she spying on Daru? There's no way she's spying on Daru. Yo! It was Sunday, but it was also after 2 p.m., and so the lunchtime rush was over. Suzuha was sitting at the restaurant's far edge, a baseball cap pulled down over her face. She was hiding her face with the cap and carefully watching a couple sitting nearby. I knew it. Oh my gosh, I knew it. Yo. You just let it happen. Just let it happen natural. It'll be fine. You don't gotta help him. What am I saying? Of course you have to. You must help him, or you're going to disappear from existence. Here you are, your Major Curry. A cheerful employee put down 2 giant silver plates, or trays more accurately, in front of them. Suzuha could see the other customers looking at them and whispering. The couple really stood out after all. The man was a giant who looked like he ate Major Curry all the time, but the woman was slim, pretty, and looked very kind. The combination of huge man and slim woman was as unbalanced as the combination of pretty girl and Major Curry. The Major Curry was big. It was huge. Suzuha knew from experience. The massive silver trays were loaded with rice and curry, and topped with 2 fried cutlets, fried shrimp, sausage, a boiled egg, and a mountain of cabbage. Dang, that sounds good. There was 2 or 3 times as much curry as you'd find in a normal dish, and the toppings were just as big. Even a growing young boy would find it hard to eat them all. Suzuha was irritated.
Why are you ordering major curry on your first date with her dad?
Aw. The Beauty and the Beast couple that Suzuha was watching, of course, was Itaru and Yuki. In the morning, they'd gone to see a movie in Yorokucho, then they'd come to Akihabara, and gone straight to Go-Go Curry. Suzuha had followed them the whole time. That's why she couldn't believe Itaru's choice of date spots.
I don't mind Go-Go Curry at all. In fact, I like it, but... This is your first date! There are other places you could have gone.
She clutched her spoon tight and gritted her teeth. Suzuha knew next to nothing about Japanese youth culture in 2011, and even she knew it was a bad idea. Who knew what was going through Yuki's mind? Or so Suzuha thought. Okay, I do want to point out that you were just attacked and almost, like, potentially killed. I know this has to happen, right? We gotta have this so that Suzuha continues to be Suzuha. But also, it's just... they're just... The highs and lows, man, that we go through, like, almost death to, like, hey, we're on a date now. It's insane. I mean, they did have that breaking up thing, like, with they had a breakup of those two things with Okabe meeting Maho, but still, it's just really, really funny to me in my head. I don't know. But
Wow! It's even more amazing than the pictures.
surprisingly, Yuki was ignoring the people around her and innocently enjoying the huge curry. Amaneshi, if you can't eat it all, I'll finish it for you, okay?
Okay, thank you. But I'm actually pretty good at this.
Yeah? That's a surprise.
I actually would always just come and look at the menu outside. I always wanted to try this. I'm glad you brought me here.
I'm glad to hear that.
Huh?
Suzuha had evidently worried over nothing, but still she realized that Itaru was acting strangely. Ever since he'd come out of the movie theater, he was walking and talking strangely. Instead of his usual hunched posture, he was forcing himself to stand up straight. His every movement seemed oddly forced, as if he were a broken robot. And he downed glass after glass of water.
Oh, I'm sorry. May I have some more water too?
Huh? Oh, sure. Sure.
Thank you.
Itaru poured water into Yuki's cup. Suzuha had a bad feeling. And she was right. Itaru was moving so awkwardly that he almost spilled water on her hand. Are you okay?
My hand just got a little wet. Anyway, let's eat before it gets cold, okay?
Yuki quickly wiped down the table with her handkerchief and grabbed her fork and spoon. There were stars in her eyes.
Okay, let's eat.
Let's eat. Itadakimasu! Yuki seemed to be really enjoying her meal, but Itaru was very formal and quiet. He was taking little nibbles out of a piece of fried cutlet, like a squirrel eating a nut. The whole time, they weren't saying a word.
What are you doing, Dad? Mom's not going to want to be around you if you're like that.
She decided to send him a message on Rhine telling him to get his act together, and she'd just taken out her phone when... Here's your major curry, with extra... Trying to think. In a similar, it would be like foul, or like faux, so row? Whatever, close enough. A huge plate was laid on the table in front of her. The other customers started murmuring again. Come to think of it, when she'd followed them into the store, she'd ordered her usual major curry with extra rao, and then forgotten about it. Now everybody was going to focus on her. In a small shop like this, it was suicide. Oh no! Oh no, they noticed! Oh no, no.
Huh?
Just as she expected, her eyes met Yuki's.
Suzuha! I didn't realize you were here. Oh, yeah. What a coincidence seeing you here, Yuki. Brother. You should have said something. No, I didn't even notice you, really.
She realized that she should probably leave, but she couldn't go without at least taking a bite of the major curry in front of her. Her experiences in the war had left her completely unable to waste food. She felt Yuki and Itaru staring at her as she reluctantly picked up her spoon.
Anyway, yeah. You two enjoy yourselves.
Her only choice was to finish her extra-large curry as soon as possible. She couldn't let herself be in the way. But instead, Yuki came over and picked up Suzuha's plate. Oh no, dude, you ruined it. Why? Dude, all you needed was a cup of water or something. Get yourself a soft drink. You didn't have to get food that would bring attention to yourself.
Huh? Excuse me. Can my friend sit with us?
Sure, go ahead.
He says it's okay. Let's all eat together. Wait! Why? Why? Because you ordered major curry too. I think we need to have a race. Huh? Hashira can be the judge.
And before Suzuha could respond, Yuki had moved her plate over to their table.
No, wait!
She had no choice but to follow. But before she sat down, she whispered in Yuki's ear.
You're on a date, right? Huh? Oh, yeah. I'm on a date. It makes me blush when I say it out loud.
Itaru didn't react at all, even though she was sure he'd overheard that.
I've never been on a date, so I don't know how they work, but... Is it normal to have a curry speed eating contest with another girl in the middle of a date? I don't really know. But you see it in a lot of anime and manga, don't you?
Nice to, very slightly break the fourth wall.
A little sister who doesn't want to lose her big brother runs up to the girlfriend and says, "Let's have a competition."
For some reason, Yuki seemed incredibly enthused. Suzuha was overwhelmed by her energy.
I don't know anything about that. Is that how it works, brother?
But even when she turned to Itaru for help, he just awkwardly sat there, eating his curry like a robot. He's done. He's gone, brother. He broken. He broken. He been in close proximity to her for too long.
Brother?
He awkwardly turned his head to face her. The rest of him stayed completely still. Did you say something?
What's wrong? You're acting weird.
I am not acting weird. I am not acting weird at all. Turned into freaking Baymax. Suzuha glanced back at Yuki. And for the first time, Yuki looked concerned. In the end, Yuki and Suzuha did have their curry eating contest, and surprisingly, both of them completely finished their meals. Suzuha won by a very small margin, but the battle was exciting enough that not only the other customers, but the staff as well were applauding at the end. But the whole time Itaru kept eating by himself. Way to ruin it, Suzuha. Shouldn't even have been there. Since this wasn't even a conversation, let alone a date, she sent Itaru home alone. Part of her wanted to demand Itaru explain himself right now, but she decided to talk to Yuki instead. She tried her best to avoid Yuki so far, in order to keep her identity a secret, but it was July now. She would be gone from this era very soon. This might be her last chance to talk to Yuki at all.
Phew. I'm so glad you were there.
Yuki sighed a little after Itaru left.
Maybe I did something to offend him. Hashida doesn't seem to enjoy being around me.
Aww. Dude, no, he's just a freak. Don't worry about him. He's just a freaking freak.
You don't think he was just nervous? But he was having fun talking with me before the movie, you know? But after the movie, he started acting really strange. Did I do something wrong? I asked him to take me to the curry place, but since he was acting like that the whole time, I wasn't really sure what to do. And so since you happened to be there, I turned to you for help.
What had happened inside the theater? Suzuha hadn't followed them inside. I bet she held his hand or something, and he freaking blew a gasket. She'd spent about 2 hours killing time outside.
Hey. Why do you like my brother? Huh? Huh? I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but he's not exactly a lady killer. What do you think about your brother? Me? Do you like him? Hate him? You like him, right? I can tell by watching you. Well, sure.
There were parts of him that she didn't like. Yeah, which is 90% of him for me. Sorry, I can't help it. It's reflexive. It's it's a reflex now to freaking hate on him. He's only redeemable by the people around him in any way, shape, or form. If that even makes sense. But of course, she loved her dad.
Wait, why are we talking about me? So, what about you? I still don't really know if I like him or not. I see.
Not only had Itaru not told Yuki he liked her, this was still their first date, and they hadn't spoken that much before either. She hadn't even reached the point where she saw him as a member of the opposite sex. For almost a year, Suzuha had stayed with him, and she, Mayeri, and Faris had done everything they could to get the two of them together. But there hadn't been any real progress. Suzuha felt uneasy when she thought about the future. Maybe her dad wouldn't be her dad anymore. Maybe her mom wouldn't be her mom anymore. Dad and mom wouldn't be together. She imagined that future.
I don't want that.
She looked straight into Yuki's eyes.
I'm going to be leaving soon. What? I'm moving someplace far away. Really? I don't think I'll be back. And I'm worried about Dad. I mean, my brother. So, Yuki, I know this is a weird thing for me to ask.
And then she bowed deeply.
Please take care of Itaru Hashira. Huh?
There was no answer from Yuki. Suzuha looked up, afraid, and tried to gauge the expression on her face. She looked kind of lonely and kind of sad.
I don't know what I want to do.
Yuki whispered, and then Suzuha.
Huh? Oh, jeez! What are we going to do? Everything's almost finished, even though it's never even started.
As soon as she got back to the lab, she yelled at her useless father. Ah, Suzuha! I'm sorry. The Hashira family is doomed.
Stop sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. This isn't funny. Start by explaining why you were acting that way today. You looked so excited when you left this morning, and Mom said that you were normal until halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
So what the heck happened?
Well, you see, listen to this. You know how movie theater seats are cramped, right? So I tried to sit as far to the edge as I could so I wouldn't get in Amaneshi's way. And then I heard this crack, and the seat almost broke.
What?
And then I tried to support myself, so I grabbed the armrest. But... It wasn't the armrest. It was Amaneshi's, hand. I knew it! I freaking knew it! I didn't know how it happened, but I'm like, I knew he probably grabbed her hand. I freaking knew it!
Yeah? Mom didn't say anything about that.
I'm telling the truth. It was so soft, it couldn't have been an armrest. It was a girl's hand. It had to have been.
I see.
But you see, I've held a lot of 2D girls' hands, but never a real girl's.
And? What happened then?
Amaneshi's so nice. I guess she didn't try to shake it off because she didn't want to hurt me. But you know how fat I am, right? I sweat a lot. She must have gotten soaked, but she didn't say a word. And so I really started to think about that. Oh, that's kind of sad.
Oh, I see. That's why you were acting so weird.
I'm sure in her mind, Amaneshi was going, "Get off me, you creepy loser pervert."
Mom's not like that.
In fact, from the way she was acting, she probably thought she'd upset him somehow. The problem was what she'd said.
I don't know what I want to do.
What did she mean by that?
Oh. I don't know what Mom's thinking.
Suzuha, let's give up on Mom, and you can live with me.
You're not making any sense. How am I supposed to be born?
But it's impossible.
How come you're not even trying? Even if things look bad, you have to keep going.
She grabbed her father by the collar and shook him.
If you don't...
She remembered how sad Yuki had looked when they'd said goodbye.
Otherwise, something awful will happen.
Yeah. Suzuha was starting to wonder about leaving, especially now that she had even more to worry about. Maybe I shouldn't have talked to Yuki after all. She realized again how powerless she was, being from the future. Alright, back to Okabe. What the heck? Oh my gosh. Oh, man. I wonder if her interfering in the way that she did, though, was what helped save it or something, because maybe things would have gotten screwed up without that. I don't know. Because it seems paradoxical, right? That she would be getting this involved. It's like what happened in friggin' Back to the Future, kind of, right? It's like Marty had to help his dad. It's the same principle. The Global Brain Science Comprehensive Research Organization Japanese office prep room in Wako City hadn't changed a bit in 6 months. Goodness gracious, what is up with these mouthful names? Try to give it some kind of an acronym. I mean, that won't turn into a good acronym, but still. It was still far from being what it needed to be, and still almost completely empty. There were rows and rows of empty desks. The amount of dust on the tables had perhaps increased. After Dr. Leskinen had left, it had probably remained unused. Sorry to call you out here like this, Lintalo. Oh, it's fine. Dr. Leskinen had told me he wanted to update the Amadeus app to the latest version, so I had come to his office after class. Oh, is it something he has to do manually? He can't update it over the internet? That probably makes sense though, right? So that no one could hack it or something, maybe? Though I guess you can't really hack Amadeus because of... I don't know. How would that work? There must be some reason he has to do it in person. It's got to be a secrecy thing. Maho had connected my phone to her PC to begin the process. He said it would only take 10 minutes, so I was sitting around and waiting. I guess it's not like a out there app on the App Store, so maybe because it's not connected to any actual mainframe of any kind, it's their own creation that's still in this prototype phase. They have to hook it up to their old stuff. That would make sense. Or their own stuff, I mean. By the way, Lintalo, I know we discussed this before, but would you seriously consider being an exchange student? Huh? If it doesn't bother you, I'd be willing to write a recommendation letter. Of course, you'd need to pass the test in the interviews. I frantically straightened my posture. That's a very tempting offer, but I don't think I've got the academic talent for it yet. my goal is to go to Victorchondria, and so I really don't want to screw it up. And so I was planning on really buckling down and studying for at least another year. Dr. Leskinen pursed his lips as I tried to stammer out an explanation. But soon. Okay. He patted me on the shoulder and smiled. I knew you were a very thoughtful young man. Really? No one's ever told me that before. Saying it was one thing. But maybe I was just a coward. There were times when you needed the courage to move forward without being afraid of failure. Was now one of those times? So you'll try for it next year then? Yes. Maybe. Had I missed my chance? Would Dr. Leskinen wait until next year? I started to get nervous. It's not good to be obsessed over things too much. I think even coming to visit would help your motivation. Visit? If the timing works out for you, we'd be willing to pay to have you visit. How about it? I can't believe you'd do that for me. Thank you. Of course. I don't know when I'll be heading back to America next, so I can't say exactly as to when it will be. Right. I bowed my head in gratitude. Meeting Dr. Leskinen was a real lucky break for me. I don't know about that, man. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. You don't know the stuff that I've seen. You don't know the trouble I've seen. By chance, my eyes met Maho's. For some reason, her smile was a little sad. She quickly looked away and went back to her work. No. Maho was staying in a business hotel a few stops down from Waco City. She said she desperately avoided staying in the same hotel as last time.
It's not quite as convenient, though.
You know, why not clean up a little? She hadn't spent that much time in Japan, and it was already messy.
Clean up? I've got everything laid out in the most efficient manner for my use.
Which meant she was refusing the hotel's cleaning service.
You know that's why you're never getting a boyfriend, right?
I could hear credits from my phone. She was annoyed. After the app updated, I'd left Amadeus running.
Nobody asked you! Any normal person would be embarrassed to invite someone over to a room like this.
Well, cleaning wasn't a specialty of mine either. It wouldn't be right to give her too much of a hard time. So, what did you want to talk about? Oh boy. I'd come to Maho's hotel because she said she wanted to talk to me about something. I wouldn't have minded talking about it in the office, but she insisted on speaking alone in her hotel room. I knew she didn't mean anything by it. After knowing her for half a year, I knew she wasn't the type. Maho looked like she was having trouble finding the words she wanted to say.
You still haven't told me the truth about what happened to Credits.
Oh, she's being used. This is how Dr. Leskinen's trying to get the info. I quickly shut down the Amadeus app.
And I want to ask you about the time machine, too.
The time machine?
You're the one who said that Kuditz was involved in Dr. Nakabachi's paper. Was she really working on a time machine?
How should I answer that? Last time, she'd been trying to decrypt Kuditz's laptop. I was willing to tell her what I'd experienced in order to get her to stop. In the end, I'd lost the chance though. But things were different now. Kuditz's laptop was gone. There was no reason to bring it up anymore. But then Maho said something I didn't expect.
Actually, I've been researching a time machine for the last 6 months, along with my normal research.
What?
I thought that if Kuditz could do it, so could I. It's just a silly rivalry. Maybe I'm just being stubborn. But, you know, if I could make a time machine, I told myself maybe I could save Kuditz.
Don't! This was awful. Why bring it up now? Maho was still haunted by Kuditz's death just as much as I was. Don't get any stupid ideas.
Okabe.
Don't try to save Kuditz Makase. It's impossible. The laws of God won't allow it.
Then I was right. I was right. You know something, don't you?
Maho got closer to me.
Did she really do it? Did Kuditz really make a time machine? You used it to become humanity's first time traveler, didn't you? I know you did!
Do you have any proof of that? I pretended to remain calm. Maho seemed shocked at her own words.
I'm sorry. I'm being weird. I can't believe I said something so delusional.
Hiyajo? Maho started to cry. I didn't know what to do when she started crying right in front of me.
What's gotten into me? I didn't mean to cry.
She used her fingers to wipe away the tears. She seemed pretty unstable. I could sense a lot more fragility than I'd seen before. She looked like she'd been psychologically pushed to the limit. All the things she'd experienced must have taken a toll on her. Or she's trying to trick you because freaking Dr. Leskinen is doing some stuff. When we were talking on video chat, I hadn't seen any signs of that at all. Should I tell her? If she was researching a time machine, that was a bad sign. She might start looking into things and open doors that should remain closed. If that was the case, I should tell her what I experienced, and then have her give up, just like I did. Except she won't, because she didn't experience what you experienced. That's the problem. Fine. I'll tell you what I experienced. Dude, oh no, she's tricking you, dude! Promise me you won't tell anyone. And I'll say this one more time. don't get any ideas about saving Kurits-Makase. Got it? She nodded as she wiped away the tears. She's freaking playing him, dude. She's using the little "I'm a sad girl" card to freaking get him to cave. Oh, frick! She's got like a recorder or something. You know she does somewhere. I hate it. Is Kurits gonna be like, is she gonna know and then warn us or something? I don't know, man. I don't freaking know. This sucks. Because he turned off the app, but is Amadeus on somewhere else? I told her about the events in the Alpha World line, about the time machine, about reading Steiner, about the method of sending memories back through time that I called a time leap, about how Kurits had developed a time leap machine that made this possible. Oh, he's giving her everything. About Suzuha Amane, the time traveler from the year 2036. No, dude! Oh, frick! About the future Suzuha had told us about, and the Third World War. And about how the race to develop a time machine would set off that war. I told her all these things, as matter-of-factly as I could. As for how Kurits died, I couldn't tell her that. When I told her everything, she fell silent for a bit. See, but you would have to have told her, because otherwise she'd be like, wait, how was she alive past the date that she died? Right? Like, how did you escape that? Because the whole thing it revolves around you killing her, right? Isn't that, or does he not know that yet? Maybe he doesn't know that yet, because his future self didn't talk to him, right? So he probably doesn't know that. Oh no. Oh no. Phew. She took a deep breath, frowned, and rubbed her temples.
My head hurts.
You don't need to believe it all. You can think I'm crazy if you want. It doesn't bother me. But if you insist on continuing to research a time machine and save Kurits-Makase, I'll do whatever I have to in order to stop you. So give up on any ideas you've got. Stop pushing yourself so hard. I was about to say more, but Maho put her hand up to stop me.
Let me get this all straight in my head a little more. This reading Steiner you told me about, it's not the new encephalitis? The symptoms match what Dr. Leskinen told me about.
That's true. It might be. I still don't know whether I should tell him or not. It may just confuse him for no good reason. What do you think?
Don't ask me, please.
Maho was still massaging her temples with her fingers. That's true. Sorry.
Did you really destroy Kurits' laptop?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see what was on it?
How could he? He didn't know the password either. I didn't know how to crack the password. There was no way I could. Even Dadu said he couldn't do it. There was no way I could do it on my own.
Did you read the original paper on the time machine that Kurits wrote?
No. Maho kept asking me questions. She seemed to be in some kind of strange hurry. Yeah, 'cause she tricked you! Ugh! Frick! I hate this.
Do you know how Kurits made her time machine?
The basic ideas.
Could you recreate it?
I don't know. Maybe with Daru's help.
So you could, right?
It would be difficult to do on my own.
What about me?
Don't even think about it. Maho suddenly grimaced, as if she was in pain. I realized how pale she was. Hiajo? Are you okay? Did she really have a headache or something? You want to lie down? She's guilty. I'm telling you, she feels guilty, so she's freaking out. Ugh! But she shook her head and kept asking questions.
Where is the time machine now? The one that Suzuha used. Where is it? Where?
I wasn't sure if I should say without Suzuha's permission. Akihabara. Why are you telling her this? Why would you tell anyone this? Ugh! Sometimes, man, he's so smart sometimes, and other times he doesn't think. He doesn't think like, maybe there's some things that should remain sacred, Some things that I just shouldn't tell people that don't understand. Especially when she's trying to freaking create a time machine, which you don't want her to do. That doesn't seem weird to you at all. It's not gonna make her feel any better. You freaking simp! You're watching her cry, and then you're just giving into it. Freaking goon, dude. Maho looked so desperate that I found myself answering her question. It's still there. On top of the radio building. Oh! Why? This is not good. This is not good. No one's supposed to know that's what that is, dude. You're so stupid. I can't believe you're this dumb.
I see.
Her shoulders slumped, and her head drooped. I was worried that she might ask to see it for herself, but maybe she really was sick. No, she's guilty because she knows she's freaking tricking you and recording everything that you're saying! Frick! Are you really okay? I put my hand on her shoulder and looked at her face. You should rest for today. Oh! There was no warning at all. I freaking... Dang it! Oh, you suck, dude! Okabe, why? Why are you such a simp? Frick! Maho's tiny body slammed into me. The force was enough to push me back to the wall. What are you... Before I knew what was happening, her arm was against my throat. She was using the bone in her arm to put pressure on my windpipe. I couldn't breathe or speak. Isn't she like half your size? How is she reaching your throat? I twisted my body and tried to resist, still clueless as to what was going on. Then she used her other hand to grab my head and slam it back into the wall. What do you mean? She's literally like, they said like a middle schooler. You could punt her across the room, dude. Her strength was incredible. I was a lot bigger than she was, but still I couldn't escape her grasp.
I'm sorry, Okabe.
Her voice was very dark and very cold. And suddenly she moaned again, and her face twisted in pain.
My head feels like it's about to explode.
She was crying again.
Why? Why did you tell me? You shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, because... Oh, frick! But they can hear you too, right? Oh, no, because she's going to have to update Amadeus Maho, right? Is that what she means? I couldn't escape. I grabbed onto her long hair and tried to pull her away, but she didn't move at all. It was as if she felt no pain. My phone had been vibrating in my pocket for a while now. I desperately grabbed for it. I pressed the button without even looking at the screen. Please answer, Kurtz.
Okabe?
Kurtz! I was blacking out. Was I going to die here? How is she this strong? What is going on? Is it like, can something control people and then turn them into like little killing machines or something? Because it happened to Kagari too, didn't it? She said the voice of God. Something's going on. Something freaking screwy's going on right now. Without even knowing why Maho was trying to kill me. But the whole time she was strangling me, Maho looked like she was in so much pain. And wait, was she crying? Before I could figure out if her tears were real or an act, I passed out. When I woke up, my throat hurt. I tried to cover my mouth with my hands, but something was keeping them from moving. I opened my eyes and saw that I was sitting in some kind of chair with my head facing downwards. I slowly raised my head. My hands were tied to the armrests with zip ties. When I tried to break out, the ties dug into my skin and hurt very badly. I tried looking around. It was a room I'd never seen before. There were machines that looked like they belonged in the operating room of a hospital. But the wall was also lined with monitors, like some kind of guard room or control room. I couldn't see any windows, so I had no idea where I was. Someone! My throat hurt when I tried to talk. I tried to remember that Maho had almost killed me. Why had she done that? I felt more confused than angry. Oh, frick. Yep. Hello, Lintalo. You're awake? I heard footsteps and saw a wavering shadow beneath the dim fluorescent lights in front of me. I knew that voice. What? Dr. Leskinen? How do you feel? If you're thirsty, I can get you some water. When I looked again, I saw that he wasn't alone. There were several men behind him in black suits. They were looking at me without saying a word. All of them were holding guns. They looked like MIBs and reminded me of the foreigners I'd almost ran into at Daru's shop 6 months ago. Alright, sorry. I'm just so mad. I'm so mad. He obviously doesn't know what I know, right? But, like, he did such a good job of being paranoid and being like, I can't tell anybody because he knows how dangerous it is. It's one thing to even tell her that he experienced something. It's another thing to go and tell them where, like, tell her where the time machine was, that it's on radio building. Like, gosh darn it. Or was it the same group? What's going on here? There were a lot of things I wanted to ask, but more than anything, I wanted to know why Dr. Leskinen wasn't helping me. Of course, the first thing that came to mind was the obvious answer. It was Dr. Leskinen who had put me here, and Maho had captured me under his orders. but I didn't want to think about that. Where are we? So all I could ask was a stupid question like that. I was right. You truly are a treasure trove of information. Right now, you're as valuable as the President of the United States. He didn't answer me, but he showed me a self-satisfied smile. I could feel alarm bells going off in my head. I was getting more suspicious of Dr. Leskinen. Am I imprisoned here? It would be more accurate to say you're under our protection. Once your value becomes clear, there will be a lot of people coming after you. Did you order this, Dr. Leskinen? That's right. I made the decision. After hearing about your information from Maho. Where is Hyajo? Resting in her hotel room, I'd imagine. Did Hyajo become my friend in order to extract information from me? That wasn't her original intent. In the end, that's how it ended up, though. And you too? Were you nice to me because you were after something? Just who are you? Now. Please calm down. I've told you before, haven't I? A scientist must remain calm at all times. Excitement is only allowed when the experiment is a success. Instead of feeling calm, Dr. Leskinen's attitude was ticking me off. I felt betrayed. There was rage, frustration, sorrow, and a lot of other feelings all mixed together as I gritted my teeth. See, he should have learned from the first time that he did this when he did something stupid like telling freaking Moeka where he was, right? Or like where the IBM 5100 was, and then she took a picture of it and then let her do a freaking D-mail. Like, that was when he should have learned. Why did he not learn from that? Dr. Leskinen ignored me and gave a brief order in English to the other men. They left the room. Only Dr. Leskinen and I remained. Now then, Lintalo, I'll tell you about my other job. Your other job? It was then that I remembered the other world line that I'd been sent to. Shimoyama had told me that an American organization had demanded that I be turned over. Are you with the CIA? The NSC? But Dr. Leskinen only chuckled. Don't compare me to those idiots. They're just a bunch of useless government employees. Are you aware of an American civilian intelligence company called Strategic Focus? Strategic Focus? I'd heard of them before, on a conspiracy theory site that the old me used to read all the time. Stratfor? I remembered reading that they'd acquired top-secret information on Russian ballistic missiles that even the CIA couldn't get, and then sold it. The result was the destruction of the CIA's reputation. And at the same time, the total reorganization of Russia's military strategy. I'd even heard rumors that during the Gulf and Iraq wars, they'd obtained information about the warring countries faster than anyone and spread it as needed. The world's governments supposedly called them the Shadow CIA. You work for Stratfor? But I thought you were the chief researcher at the Brain Science Institute. That's my real job, of course. By the way, I often run into people who tell me the exact same things. They tell me that humans are just monkeys that murder each other. The human brain and the development of the neocortex are what give rise to crazy religions and crazy ambitions, and that's why there are wars. But every time I hear that, I think to myself, that's stupid. It's nonsense. Who could believe something so silly? So why do humans fight all of these useless wars then? Do you know, Lintalo? It's because of information. All human beings are part of a certain community, a certain colony, if you will. Each individual thinks he's acting on his own, but in fact, all our brains are connected by the same information distributed by our community. What, like ants? And thus, we are forced to live as members of a herd, whether we like it or not. Let me give you an example. Well, as examples go, it's not the best, but the worst massacre in history, which was carried out by a certain European country, did not take place during the dark ages of the witch trials. It was halfway through the 20th century, in a time when the atomic bomb already existed. And the country that carried it out was one of the most civilized on Earth. We'll leave the question of their leader's sanity to the historians, but what about the people who were actually on the ground, doing the killing? Were they simply murderous monkeys? No. They were people, like any others you might find. Speaking as a brain scientist, I'm certain that if I were to examine one of their brains, I'd find nothing wrong with them at all. But once they received the wrong information, their brains became capable of murder without remorse. The wrong information? This is our job. We are in the right, and anyone who does not obey is evil. That information. What are you trying to say? There needs to be someone who can control the information given to these fragile things we call brains. And that is the ultimate goal of the strategic focus. As I am in complete agreement with that goal, I work as an agent for them in addition to being a brain scientist. Do you understand? I don't. That's just the kind of monologue a villain gives in the movies. In the end, all you're doing is selling information for money. You said I'm a treasure trove of information, right? Who are you going to sell information on the time machine to? America? China? Or the war zones in Africa and the Middle East? All of them. Leskinen shrugged his shoulders and quietly laughed. It's just like nuclear weapons. Every nation needs them to act as a restraint against the others. Time machines aren't like nuclear weapons. No one even realizes if they've been used. The whole world might change without even the person who used it knowing. There's no way to restrain their use. The world will just keep changing and changing, with no one knowing which country altered the world line or how. That's right. A time machine is a far more delicate thing than a nuclear weapon. That's why we need your power. All of you people, I should say. You called it reading Steiner, as I recall? It seems to have the same symptoms as the new encephalitis. That's right. Leskinen was researching the new encephalitis, too. We'd reached the point where we realized that the patients may be capable of detecting changes to the past. But we wanted proof. So does every intelligence agency in the world. They're desperately searching. I hated myself for not realizing the possibility sooner. I'd always had the wrong idea. I thought that the reason the new encephalitis patients were being brought together was just to give them meaningless treatment. Yeah, I did not think that. I did not think that. When they said, what was it, a new treatment program? Yeah, didn't strike me as a treatment. It struck me as concentration camps, my guy. Whatever. I have a third eye view, so I can't really judge him that hard. But still, there's some things that I feel like he knows because he's been through this once. Ugh. But I was naive. Too naive. You got that right. Leskinen and Stratford's goal was to gather people with reading Steiner and study them. Maho just told me all about your amazing abilities. I had originally just hoped to get information about Kuritz's successes. But instead, we even got information on the new encephalitis. You are wonderful. This puts us a step ahead of the rest of the world. And why didn't you tell me about this sooner? If you had, I wouldn't have had to do so many things to your friend Katsumi's brain. What? Katsumi Nakase? Did he mean Fubuki? And I wouldn't have had to use the procedure on Maho's brain either. I knew it! Frick! They're controlling people's minds, dude! Even Hiajo? Was that why she was acting so weird? And why she was like a freaking ninja? She's your assistant, right? She respected you! She looked up to you! How could you use her in a human experiment? It was necessary to acquire information that will benefit all of humanity. An end to justify the means. And there's no need to panic. Both Maho and Katsumi will survive with only minor impairments to their brain functionality. You're insane! For the first time, I felt hatred for, and fear of, the man in front of me. I couldn't believe that this was the same man I'd respected so much. I freaking told you! I called it from the beginning! I looked at his freaking face and I said, that's an evil man right there. That's a man that is up to no good. That's a conniving face right there. I freaking knew it. You cannot trick me. I know these things. I freaking knew it. Oh, I hate that I was right. I hate that I'm so smart. I'm cursed with so much brain. Cursed to be a 5-head, never a 4-head. If we investigate the brains of patients who've contracted reading Steiner, I'm sure we'll learn more. If we can sell that in a set along with the time machines, we can maintain the military balance of power across the world. We can avoid war. I'm gonna say though, I love this as like a villain's like reasoning for something, right? Because he's the hero of his own world, right? And he has the same goal that we do as the actual hero, right? But like, you can totally see what he's trying to say potentially, right? It makes sense. We both want to avoid a war, so we just distribute the power, right? So then everyone is constantly just pointing guns and we're in a Mexican standoff, right? And that's what keeps peace, is because nobody has more power than another person, right? It's like, it's actually really intelligent, and I love villains that you can like understand where they're coming from, where you can almost say, You know, that kind of makes sense, you know what I mean? And potentially go along with it. It's very good. I actually really like that. I want your cooperation too. Leskinen's mannerisms hadn't changed a bit, even as he spoke of these horrifying things. He spoke of these insane things in the same manner that Maho once described like a mischievous child's. You tricked me, didn't you? You approached me just because I was friends with Kudets! You tried to get information about Kudets from me! I don't think I ever tricked you. It was a coincidence that we first met. It's true that a major reason I asked you to test Amadeus was your relationship with Kudets. But it's also true that, as I got to know you, I really did take an interest in you. I still wish you could be my assistant. But that's a separate matter. Remember what I said? You're as valuable as the President of the United States himself right now. I need to prioritize the company's work over my private feelings. For the sake of humanity's future peace. I'm sorry, Lintalo, but at the same time, I'm excited. I can't wait to see all the information you possess. Go to hell. I'm going to take a copy of your memory data. Your memories are going to be used in the Amadeus system. Interesting idea, right? That way, even if you die in an unfortunate accident, your memories will remain. Oh, don't worry. I'm not interested in killing you. Humans have far weaker security than Amadeus. Once they taste pain, they'll gladly share information to escape it. Their security, when it comes to keeping secrets, is practically non-existent. Torture doesn't work on Amadeus, which means it will be far more difficult to deal with than you. The only reason I'm taking the memory data is to have a backup. Even if, for example, you were unable to endure the torture and went insane. In the near future, we'll be able to download your memories back into your brain. You attended my lecture, so you know this, right? We'll start by getting that memory data. And then you're going to tell me all kinds of things. We're going to be busy. Now, relax. Otherwise, I can't extract the data correctly. Leskinen! You! Don't make that face. No one is coming to help you. This place is under Stratfur's control. No one knows about it but us. No one. I was too stunned to think. There was nowhere to run. My knees shook in terror as I imagined what was about to happen to me. Maybe it would have been better to die. And then I felt sick as I remembered that I was fated not to die until 2025. If no amount of torture could kill me, this was literally hell.